Hey guys, glad you stopped by. Tonight, dinner, as promised. And tonight, I thought we would do a, I'll tell you. A skillet beef enchilada dish. It's a one skillet dish. It's got all the components of a beef enchilada in it for the most part. But it all goes in a skillet. Then you throw it in the oven and voila, dinner is done. Doesn't take a whole lot of work. It's only got a handful of ingredients. Nothing weird or anything you can't find at the grocery store, hands down. But I think it's going to taste good. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to make at any rate. This would actually be quick and easy enough that if you have kids or you're new to cooking, this would be right up your alley, I think. And like I said, judging by just what I see as far as components go here on the counter, I think it's going to be good. But we'll see. We will see. If this is your first video, welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. Hope you got something out of this video. Hope you get something out of my other videos. Check those out. If you're returning, thank you. If you are one of a bazillion new subscribers, if you caught today's earlier video that I put out, a quick little 10-minute jobby, thanking everybody for subscribing. We are up over 1,100 subscribers. We're at 1,133 as of this video, but that could have changed since I started shooting this video today. We are growing in leaps and bounds. That is awesome. Just awesome. That means that, there's a lot of people out there that, want to be a good neighbor, be a good friend, take care of one another. That's important. At least I think it should be important, especially nowadays when there's not a lot of that going on, it seems like, anymore. But anyhow, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comments, as always, are always welcome. I try my hardest to respond to every last one of them in some way, shape, or fashion. And, as it should be. And, like, subscribe, share, comments, always welcome. If we are commenting, I'll ask you to be nice. It's okay to disagree. Just think before you type. That being said, let's go ahead and get down here to the counter and we'll get started on this skillet enchilada. All right, hold on for me 1 second. All right, we are down here at the counter, and all we'll need to make this with is literally a skillet. Now, I use my chicken fryer for everything because it seems like none of these pans, even though I have a slew of them, quite hold everything to make a larger meal. They do, depending on what you're making, like sloppy joes, things like that. But my chicken fryer, which, don't be fooled by the name. Yes, you can use it to fry things. That's why it's super deep. But that doesn't mean that's all it's used for. You can use a skillet for anything, including its intended purpose, in my opinion. Now, some opinions may vary on that. But anyhow, I've got my skillet out here, and it's a 12-inch skillet. In this case, a deep 12-inch skillet. I've got 2 tablespoons of oil in there. I'm using olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, you could use veggie oil too. Vegetable oil, veggie oil. And what we want to do is we're going to heat this up on medium-high heat, which I've been doing. So we're pretty good to go. Once you get this up to medium-high heat, I have 3 cups of fine chopped onion, borderline diced. You can make it as fine or as unfine or as chopped or diced as you like. In our house, though, Chris really prefers to have the onions as finely diced as possible without them being minced and disappearing. So I've got 3 cups, which is about 2 medium-sized onions, 3 small onions worth of diced onion, or finely chopped. And I'm just going to simply put this in here, and we're going to go ahead and get these so they're soft, so they're softened and that they're tender, that they're clear. So we want soft and translucent, which is going to take about 6-7 minutes to do. All right, so we got our onions nice and softened and translucent. See that in there? Now, you can say, but Brian, they still look white. And you're right, they do. But they are translucent. So, onions, I will relate this to something cool I learned real quick. But in the meantime, we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, I ran mine through my garlic press. If you don't have one, I highly recommend getting one. They're cheap, and they save you a lot of time. But anyhow, something cool I learned about polar bears, and these onions reminded me of it. We're gonna cook this for a minute until the garlic gets fragrant. Sorry, is polar bear's hair isn't actually white; it's clear. It's the sun's rays and the way the hair collects the light along with the color of the skin that makes them turn white. Alright, so let this go for just a couple seconds because my pan is nice and hot, so I don't have to worry so much about it taking long, literally about, well, the time of that story. And now about 30 seconds to a minute to get that garlic moving, and you want to keep stirring it. If you don't, your garlic will burn and it turns bitter. So the next thing we're going to add to this is 2 pounds of hamburger. Now I'll explain to you why that is here in just 1 second. And you can go as little as a pound, pound and a half. But we're going to get this hamburger in here and we're going to start getting it fried up. Now this recipe calls for 2 pounds because we're going to remove 2 cups down the road worth of our mix to set aside for something later on down the road. If you don't want to, you can use 2 pounds, or you can just put in a pound to a pound and a half of meat. But we're going to go ahead and get this hamburger nice and browned up and crumbly, and then we can move on. All right, we are nice and browned and crumbly. Basically we've just made hamburger, a ground hamburger. And so the next things we got to add to this, we are going to add, I've got 2 ounces, it would be 2 of the packages of taco seasoning, or 2 ounces if you make your own. We're going to throw that in there. One thing I didn't mention that the original recipe said was they used 90-10 hamburger, ground beef. I use 80-20. Use what you can afford. And if you can afford 90-10, awesome. But if you can't, that's fine. Just drain off some of the grease as you can. So we got our 2 ounces or 2 packages of taco seasoning in there. And then I've got 1 cup of beef broth I'm putting in. And we're going to let this cook for just a minute or so till it starts to get a little thickened. Alright, so we are nice and thickened up here. We are looking like, hamburger should be. Right like that. Let me see. Here, I'll bring it in a little bit so you can check her out in its entirety. Sorry, I am a one-man, one-camera wrecking crew of disaster, so to speak. So we have thickened up just like such. Right now we just pretty much look like taco meat. And turn our oven off. We are our stovetop off. Next thing we want to do is turn our broiler on. And if you don't know what a broiler is, you've got the bottom of the oven and you've got the top of the oven. The bottom of the oven is the heating element that bakes. The top heating element broils. If you have 2 separate settings, I put mine on high. You are going to want to move your 1 rack that's in here, your upper rack if you have 2, up to where the top of your pan is about 6 to 7 inches off of the broiler element or that heating element. Get it warming up because everything's cooked for the most part, but when we put the cheese on top, we want to get it brown and bubbly, and you want to keep an eye on it. It'll get away from it fast. So the next things we want to put in here, I've got 1 can of pinto beans. Now, the original recipe again called for black beans. I'm the only person in our house that cares for black beans, so I make that sacrifice and run with pinto beans instead. Use a bean that you like, though. If red beans are your thing, kidney beans. Maybe a white chili bean, or a navy bean, or a Great Northern bean. I mean, whatever bean you like, or no beans at all if you don't like beans. But we'll put our 1 can of beans in there, and those are drained and rinsed. And then I've got 2 cups of enchilada sauce. I'm gonna pour that in there, and it's the red enchilada sauce, obviously, not the green. Although I suppose if you did this with chicken, you could do green. Now, I did not separate the 2 pounds, take the 2 cups of hamburger out of here that it said to set aside for it. The reason why is you set that aside for if you're going to do like for leftovers or make another meal. Their suggestion on that, I got this recipe from Southern Living, by the way. Their suggestion was to do a quick, easy chili con carne, which if you would like to see that done, I'll be more than happy to do that. Just let me know down in the comments or over on Facebook, and I'll be more than happy to. So we've got that mixed up, right? We just put our enchilada sauce and our beans in there. So the next thing we need to do, the next thing that's going to go with this recipe is corn tortilla shells. Now, I cut them into 8 pieces, right? So I took a round corn tortilla and I cut crisscross, and then I did another crisscross in between those wedges, and it gives you 8 wedges. I've got 10 whole corn tortilla shells here, and what we're going to do is we're going to lay these all over the top, and then I'm going to push them down in here to get them wet. So we'll do that. I'll show you real quick, and then I'll do the rest, and then we can take it from there. So I'm just going to push them down in like this, right? Just like that. And then I'm going to do all of these wedges. So it'll be 80 of them total, I think. So it's going to go down quite a bit. Okay, so we got all our wedges on there and coated. So if you didn't want to do it the way I did it with the spoon, you could take your wedges one at a time, or 2 at a time in this case, and just put them in and coat them just like that. You know, but I thought it would be easier because you're essentially just going to layer them on top anyhow, to just tap them down. That worked better for me, you know, but however you like to do it. So the next thing we're going to do is put about 2 cups, 8 ounces worth of, now this called for pre-shredded from the store Mexican cheese, 4-blend Mexican cheese. I don't buy pre-shredded. I just don't anymore unless I absolutely have to. I buy, you know, a combination of Colby Jacks, Cheddars, Monterey's, Pepper Jacks, which is pretty much what's in this bag, and I'll blend those together. I'll keep them separately, and I try to do up 2-pound blocks at a time. That way I got plenty to spare. And if you want to do that also, you can just put it in your freezer, you know, maybe put enough in there for a week or so of each cheese, and then put the rest in your freezer, and you're good to go. So anyhow, 2 cups worth of cheese on the top, cheese of your choice. Like I said, they recommended the Mexican 4-cheese blend. I'm using a combination of Colby Jack and cheddar, and I think there's a little pepper jack in there. That way I have my own cheese blend. Excuse me. I am battling something, but I don't know what it is exactly. Alright, so what do we got to do now? We got, our oven is set to broil. It's been running for a second, right? So all we have to do is put this in the oven for the broil for about 4 minutes, and we're looking for this cheese to get brown, bubbly, and looking good. So when I come back, I will have it out of the oven. We'll take a look at it and maybe try some. All right, be back in just 1 second. Okay, we've come out of the oven. Nice and golden brown, 4 minutes, just like it said. Now, you know, it was golden brown, but it was bubbling around the edges. So when I took it out of the oven, I let her sit for about 5-10 minutes. But there we are right there, looking beautiful. I mean, that just looks gorgeous. If you don't let it, you gotta let your stuff set when you, at least for a few minutes when you take it out of the oven or off the stove top. If not, it's so, well, or main reason, it's so hot it will melt your face off, and we don't want face melting, right? So you let it set, you let it calm down, you let everything get to know each other again, and then it won't melt your face off because it won't be so hot. and all those flavors will have come together, you know, on that final note. We put them together, we stuck them in an oven or on a stovetop. All that flavor's just going nuts, you know, pretend it's like molecules just running all over the place. And then, you know, so it's all really excited, but we need it to calm down so we can eat it, right? So now I'm gonna just use a bowl. Things you can serve this with, refried beans, some Mexican rice if you want that. You know, I mean, there's a million and one things to serve this with for sure. Oh, that cheese is looking phenomenal. But right at the moment, the rice is still cooking, so we're just gonna have beans because I can't wait. I'm hungry. Don't tell nobody. But there we are. And you know what? I'm gonna put just a hair more cheese on top of that.
Hi.
Hi, dear.
Bacon.
Finishing up the casserole.
Huh.
Yeah, or the one skillet enchilada meal. And we'll just go ahead and put some more cheese on top of that anyhow, because we can. Why not? You can never have enough cheese. And then we're gonna throw some jalapeno rings on there. Yeah, now you're saying, well, those are red. Well, it just so happens this was the last 2 of 3 jalapenos I had out in the garden. Frost has already came, and I was pulling the plants, and lo and behold, I found 3 jalapenos that weren't frostbitten or frost-ridden and were full size. They were hidden. So I got the jalapenos, but there we are. Sorry, I'm just sitting here making a mess of things without giving you any presentation first. But that being said, let's get you up here so I can see your smiling face.
Right.
Right? And we can give it a try. Now, you could also put cilantro on top of this, and if I had some, I most certainly would, but I don't. Call me ill-prepared, but what I thought was cilantro in the fridge is actually parsley. So we'll have to go without. That's what I get for not really looking at it. I just saw green in the fridge in the bag and went, oh, cool, I got cilantro, but I don't. You could also do some chives on this. Would be just as good, but anyhow, what we're gonna look at here is the flavor of this. That is good. I mean, it's really good. I mean, if you like enchiladas, but it's basically just an enchilada in a skillet. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, easy. It took 15-20 minutes to put together, and then 4 or 5 minutes in the oven on broil to get that where it needed to be on top with the golden brown, and you got a meal. That's definitely a weeknight meal, hands down. That's good if you like enchiladas. If you don't, then this probably wouldn't be up to you, or up your alley, so to speak. Yeah, I really think you could substitute the meat. Oh, bless me. Oh, thank you. Oh, that was ridiculous. But I really think you could probably substitute that beef for chicken. I mean, for that matter. Get you some ground chicken, a couple pounds of ground chicken, throw that in there instead. Or the recipe would be the same. Or turkey. That would be another option. But yeah, I give this a try. Let me know if you do. I don't think by any means will you be disappointed. I think it's the jalapenos that are making me sneeze, so I won't eat any more of those, but I am going to have one more bite of this because it's delicious. Perfection at its finest. Woo. If you do decide to make this, which I hope you do, because like I said, it's great, it's quick. You can have friends over and spend more time talking than cooking. Kind of like I've done here tonight. And everybody's gonna love it, I guarantee it. That is one really good dish. So if you do make this, leave me a comment down below. If you've got something similar to it you want to share with us, awesome. And as always, if there's anything you ever want me to make or try to make. If you're new, everything I make pretty much we're doing for the first time together. I've never made this before now. And I like it that way. It shows you how easy things can be. But let me know, either way, whether it be in the comments or over on Facebook, the Facebook group. That being said, tomorrow for dessert, I don't know yet. I found a pie that I kind of want to try. It's called a flapper pie. It's a Canadian pie. It's very regional. I've never heard of it before, and I'm all about things I've never heard of. But it looks like it's just basically a really nice vanilla custard pie with a big meringue top on it. But like I said, it's regional to a certain area in Canada. I don't remember offhand the area. And it kind of celebrates what was the women's rights, so to speak, as far as rights went in Canada, of the flappers of the Roaring 20s, which if you don't know what the flappers are, they were, dancers. It was part of the Roaring 20s, and and it was kind of like a liberation of sorts. So I think that's probably what we're gonna do. But until tomorrow, that being said, excuse me, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and that you love them very much. They may need to hear it, and it's gonna make them feel a whole lot better to hear it. And it's gonna make you feel good to tell them. Hands down, I guarantee it. And if you make some of this skillet beef enchilada and share it with them, it's gonna lead to an evening of conversation and comfort with some comfort food like no other. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow for dessert. Till then, I love you. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.